Good morning, friends. And today's faculty is CA Sunil Malu. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for accepting our invitations and the entire team of Board of Studies Operation, who has doing wonderful job trying to reach all the students on time. So, students, one thing you must note that we always start on time and try to be on time. And this is our fourth. As I understand, this is our fourth program, rather fourth program, and this will continue for a year long, I believe, and maybe a year to come. This is practical training modules. It is for your office work. It is useful for articles, not only for articles. I may say it is useful for all practicing chartered accountants, because all we chartered accountant used to do things. We used to click on the portal that, okay, if you are clicking this, what will be done? But we must understand why we are clicking this, why not doing something else. So for this, we have invited Sunil Maluji, who is a vast experience in direct tax, not only the practice, but also litigations. So Sunilji, please do not have a fear that he is the litigation expert, so he will not able to teach us the basics. Friends, as we always say, we are here to understand and learn the basics. When our foundation is strong, then definitely we will able to deliver more. I am chairman skill enrichment board, and how to enrich your skill. Let me talk about the skill. When something theoretically known, practically done, known as a skill. So we are here to learn how we can do things practically on the income tax portal, and very small things. 26 AS all we know how to download, but what are the meaning of the informations which is placed in 26 AS? How to get it corrected if something is not relevant to us, somebody has uploaded, and how it is, how to get it corrected, whom to contact, how to contact, and how to maintain this correspondence. Very important. Tomorrow the department will say why you have done this. At least this correspondence with the department will help you, because there are things which are coming to our 26 AS which is not relevant to us. Wrongly somebody punch the wrong PAN number, or so the things is coming to us and our things going to somebody else. And sometimes the figure related to two financial year, or the two assessment year coming in the 126 AS. How to use those informations, how to properly pay your taxes. And then definitely Sunilji will also discuss about the advance tax, because advance tax is a yearly affair, it is not a one-time affair, and we must pay. Specifically, I have asked Sunilji in case of capital gain, how to calculate this, and how to calculate advance tax liability. Sometimes student is not aware that TDS not to be calculated and not to be considered for calculation of the advance tax. So many things. I will not take much time. Will not take much time between you and Sunilji. So directly requesting Sunilji Malu, and we have another faculty who will join us soon. Aditya Maheshwari from Siliguri. He will definitely help Sunilji in the question answer session, and all the technicals and the practical will be done by Sunilji Malu. So over to you, Sunilji. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I am thankful to the Board of Study, Chairman Sir Sushilji Goyal, Kapilji Gupta, and I will try my best to do justice to the topic which is given to me. So, friends, today I am going to discuss the topic in most practical manner. We will least concern the technicalities of the income tax, because our ICI syllabus is sufficient enough to cover all the academics, all the technicalities, and our syllabus is one of the best in the world in this fraternity. So only thing we need to discuss today is the practicality of the subject. And I would like to applaud the efforts of the team and ICI in this initiative of imparting the practical knowledge to the students of the ICI. So sir, allow me to share my screen. Sir, please confirm screen is visible. Okay. So today we are going to discuss the income tax portal 26 years and its connection with the recently introduced AIS TIS. And at the last, we will discuss the provisions relating to the advance tax. So first, we will discuss a 360-degree understanding of the income tax portal. Friends, as we all know that now in income tax, everything is faceless and by the system oriented manner only. So the income tax department has designed and developed a new e-filing portal which was introduced a year back in the June 2021. This is the official website of the income tax portal www.incometax.gov.in. Whenever we visit this website, so before login, this is the home page which appeared to us. And first of all, we need to understand the content of this home page as well and what and how this home page can be useful to us in our practical assignments. As you all can see, this home page is having different tabs like individual HUF, company, non-company, tax professional, others. So these are the four category which are broadly the users of this portal. Either the person can be individual HUF, either it will be a company, or it will be a non-corporate assessee, and at last, tax professionals like us. So these are the four particular tabs from which we can get the relevant material from the official portal of the income tax itself. Suppose a person is an individual and he wants to know what are the income tax provisions, which forms, how to form that, fill up that form. All that material and information will be given under this particular tab. For corporates, under the company tab, all the relevant material which is official from the CBDT and income tax department, which we contained over here. Similarly, the fourth tab, which is for tax professionals. As we all know, as a professional also, we need to use this portal as a bridge for filing various reports of the assessee with the department. Now, there are very few instances where a tax professional need to visit to the income tax department. Everything is being done online, everything is being done faceless, and this is the portal which enables an interface between the assessee and department, between the CA and department. Everything is routed through this portal only. So all my students, it is my humble request to visit this portal in depth. Whenever you get time, click on each and every options given over there and try to learn what it contains. Because generally in articleship, what we do, we use the tax filing software and we directly upload the return from that software only without knowing what are the basics. And all those basics are given in this website. And this is the official website. We may get some information from various other portals in form of articles or summary or highlights or presentations. But those may not be the official one. The information which is contained in this portal can only be considered as the official information. The next point over here is the download session. This download session provides various utilities, various ITR forms which are officially notified by the income tax department. So this is very useful. And at the last, there is a help button. In this help button, various practice manuals, various videos, educatory videos, some presentations are given on various topics which are very recent. Suppose a new Form 10BD for the charitable institute is recently launched by the CBDT. So if we want to know how to file that form, all those videos will be covered in this help session. So this was basic overview of the homepage of the income tax department. And for obtaining any of the services of this portal, we need to log in by this particular option. At the top right corner, there are two buttons. First is login and another one is the register. So only the registered user can use this income tax portal. So if a assessee is not registered or a tax professional is not registered on the portal, then they cannot use this portal. So for the first time users, they need to register by clicking this register button and putting the relevant information such as PAN, date of birth, Aadhaar, etc. And once you are registered, then you can access this portal through this login button. And when I click this login button, this next screen will appear. This is the login page of the income tax website. Here, as on the left side, as we all can see, it is asked to enter your user ID. The user ID can be our PAN, oblique Aadhaar, oblique any other user ID. So the government has recently introduced amendment in the Income Tax Act, which provides that Aadhaar and PAN can be used interchangeably. So if a person is having PAN and also Aadhaar, then he can log in this portal by his Aadhaar number as well. So PAN and Aadhaar will work as an alternative user ID. Any one of them can be used. The same portal will be logged in. Another option given is here is other user ID. This other user ID is meant for practicing chartered accountants and also for the TDS TAN logins. So if a chartered accountant want to access this portal in his professional capacity, then we need to enter here the professional user ID, which is allocated to us, and then we need to click the continue button. And once we click the continue button after putting our user ID, then this password page will reflected, where we need to confirm here by clicking the right, and then we need to put the password. After that, if we click the continue, we will be directed to the income tax portal. And this is basic dashboard of our income tax portal. This dashboard, there are various tabs which are relevant to understand and discuss here, which we will discuss one by one during the course of this presentation. The first one is the dashboard. Dashboard is basically the home page once we get login into the system. This will contain the basic details as to which assessee is logged in. Here the name of the assessee, PAN number and all contact detail will be given. And here the next tab is e-file. This tab is useful for filing income tax returns and various income tax forms. Then other tabs are authorized partners, services, pending actions, grievances, and help, which will be discussed one by one. Before that, the very important aspect to discuss here is the profile section of the assessee. On the right side top end, there is a button where we click. We found this My Profile option. So what this My Profile contains? My Profile is a tab which provides facility to the assessee to update profile service available to all the registered users. First of all, this facility is available only to the registered users. And by this profile tab, we can view and edit our profile information relating to the contact details, email IDs, and everything. So before using the portal, our profile must be completed. As we all know, the income tax department has shifted from e-filing portal 1 to 2.0 in the last year. So those assessee who were having profiles created on the old portal need to update their profile by filling the necessary additional information in this portal so that they can use the services of this portal. So if we click this My Profile button in the right side top end corner, then we will be directed to our profile of the assessee. And the profile of the assessee will basically appear like this. The left side, the name of the assessee will be appearing, and then the date of birth, PAN number, residential status, and do you have any valid passport number, and everything will be reflected over there. And also, this is very important, link Aadhaar status. As we all know that government has mandated all the assessee to link their PAN with the Aadhaar card. So here we need to check whether the PAN of the assessee is linked with Aadhaar or not. If it is not linked, then this button will be used for linking the Aadhaar with the PAN number. And on the left side of this profile page, there are other relevant options as well, which are My Bank Account, Demat Account, option 2, register the DSC, then secure access, Aadhaar OTP, and jurisdiction details. These are also very important profile related options which are part of our profile itself. So we will discuss one by one in the coming slides. So all the assessee need to ensure that whatever appearing in their profile is true and correct. Suppose there is some mistake or some update in the profile, those updates need to be edited and informed to the income tax department. And for editing the profile button, there is an edit button in the profile whereby we can edit the given details. So suppose if we click this edit button, we will be redirected to the next page. We need to click this button, and by that we can edit our citizenship, residential status, and passport detail as well. This is the basic profile information which contain the name, date of birth, PAN, Aadhaar linking status, residential status, passport detail, and citizenship. So all these 5-6 fields can be updated by profile edit option. The next important thing, which is the part of profile, is the contact detail of the assessee. Now the income tax department will have contact details of the assessee in form of mobile number, email, as well as the correspondence address. So mobile number is collected from the assessee for the purpose of SMS communication. So suppose a department is issuing any notice or any information relating to the return which is filed by the assessee. So that message will be first conveyed to the assessee by way of SMS on the registered mobile number. Then department is prompt nowadays in issuing the correspondence over the email. So therefore, the email ID which is in record with the department must be the valid one, must be the active one, and assessee should be using that email ID so that if any communication is sent on that email, the assessee can access to the same, understand the same, and respond to the same. And third option is given in the contact information is the address of the assessee. This communication address is required for physical communications and issuing any physical correspondence. So as a assessee, we need to make sure that all these three informations which are given in the portal, which are appearing in this portal, should be the true and active one. And if those are not the correct one, then we have an option to edit the same, to update the same. For that, we need to click this edit button. And once we click that button, this page will appear. Here, the department asks from the assessee to furnish two mobile numbers. First one is the primary contact number, which is mandatory, as the red asterisk mark here appear, which means the one mobile number furnishing is compulsory, and another secondary mobile number can be given, may not be given. It is option to the assessee. If he want to give an additional mobile number, he can furnish that mobile number over here also. And once we give any mobile number, the next question that the website asks to us, the primary mobile number belongs to. It is a drop-down menu. Here 5-6 options are given. Whether this mobile is belonging to the self, to a chartered accountant, to family member, to relative, whatever. So we need to select the correct option from the drop-down list. As I said, secondary mobile number is optional. Assessee can give, assessee may not give. It is choice of the assessee. Then this is very important. Similar way, the income tax department also asks for two email IDs. First one is the primary, another one is the secondary. Primary one is compulsory. Assessee need to fill up the active email ID which he can regularly access in the primary option, so that whenever any communication is given on the email, he can be timely checked. Then also he need to give confirmation whether this email ID belonging to self or someone else. He can give the secondary email ID as well. And in profile, the third important aspect is the correspondence address of the assessee. Friends, this correspondence address nowadays may not be important, looking to all the communication being the online, SMS and email based. But if we fail to update this profile, because all these fields are mandatory one, and if this portion of the profile is not updated, then our profile will be considered as incomplete, and we may not be used to avail various benefits like registering of digital signature, filing of various form. Whenever we will file some form or return, or we try to register any DSC, and if this permanent address is not filled up properly, the error will show there. It will not be allowed to use those facility unless this portion of the profile is updated in the proper manner. Here, first of all, assessee need to select the country, then the name of the building, road, and pin code. Pin code is very important as once we put any pin code, valid pin code here, the remaining details will be automatically fetched from the system. We just need to confirm those details, like which is the post office, which will be the area, which is the district and state. All these four details are basically based on the pin code that we put over here. And next option is next question, which is asked at the profile tab, is communication to be addressed to. Here two options are given. They ask the assessee on which email ID and mobile number he want to receive the communication. First option is primary only, and another option is primary as well as secondary. Suppose assessee wants privacy and he does not want that his email ID or his correspondence should be shared to any other email ID, then he can here choose the primary option only. And for ease of compliance, some people prefer to choose primary as well as secondary, as so that none of the email is missed out. Suppose the primary email ID holder forgets or misses some email, the secondary holder can remind him that any notice has been received from the income tax department. So this was all about the profile and contact detail tab from the profile of the assessee. The next important option which is appearing on the profile tab is my bank account. Left side, first option is my bank account, and once we click this, the window will appear where we need to update our active and working bank accounts. This is very important because for the purpose of issuance of refund, etc. So a valid bank account should be reflected in our profile, should be added in our profile, and that account need to be pre-validated. And if that thing is done properly, then the chances are very low that the refund of the assessee will be failed. If a proper bank account is attached here, the refund will be properly and duly get credited into that particular bank account. Otherwise, there may be some refund failures, and how to resolve those failures, that also we will discuss in the coming slides. Next important option is in the profile tab is register the DSC. As we all know, DSC stands for digital signature of the assessee. And before using any digital signature, first we need to register that particular digital signature token in the income tax website, and that registration can be done through profile page only. In profile, the third option is to register the digital signature. We need to click this button, and once we click that button, we will be redirected to this page for registration of the digital signature. Here the message is you are registering DSC for PAN number so and so. We need to confirm this by ticking this button that I have downloaded the EM signer utility. Here the income tax websites asked us to confirm that whether we have downloaded this EM signer utility or not, because this utility is very important and compulsory for registering any digital signature. So we need to verify whether our computer system is having this EM signer utility or not, and if this utility is already not downloaded, then in the bottom side of this particular page, there is an option to download the EM signer utility. So first we need to download the EM signer utility by clicking this button, and then we need to install the EM signer utility. And once the utility is installed, then we need to click this and continue button so that our registry can be registered. As you can see, I have clicked this button, and then I need to click the continue button for the further steps. And for registration, this is the final step of registering any digital signature. Here there are three options. First one is the provider. It is a drop down button. We need to select which the digital signature is the we want to register. Suppose our system has just 2-3 digital signatures. So whatever number of signatures are attached to the computer system will appear over here. We need to select the correct one. Then we need to select the certificate, which assessee we need to register, and here we need to give the password of the DSC, and this password must match with the password which is given which is registered with that DSC. All these details can be filled and then we can click the sign button. Our DSC will be registered. Friends, one more important point to take in mind at this moment is that digital signature is issued only to the natural person, means can be issued only to the individuals. So suppose a corporate or a body corporate or company wants to register a digital signature. So a company cannot have digital signature of its own. A company can have digital signature of its director and all those persons. So on this portal, if we want to use digital signature for a non-individual assessee, then first we need, if we want to go to the corporate profile of the assessee by login, suppose I have logged in this particular page. This is a profile page of a private limited company. So here, as we see, the option of registering digital signature will not appear. So what we need to do, we need to appoint a key person here. This option is available in the profile of a corporate or non-individual cases. We need to click this key person detail, and once we click that the key person detail, the key person appointed by the company will appear here. And suppose if we want to add another person as a key person for a company can be any of the director. So here it's the add another key person detail. And once we click that option to add another key person detail, this tab will be given where some basic details of the director are asked. The residential status, PAN, revenue detail will be automatically fetched. And this option is asked whether the digital signature is registered or not. So for a key person, first we need to log in the individual capacity of that key person and register digital signature in his individual capacity. And then we need to select yes over here and give the mobile number and email ID of that person. The next question which is asked by the website is whether the company wants to authorize that person to e-verify. Here we can click yes oblique no and appoint as principal contact, yes oblique no. So only those persons who are authorized by the company to e-verify by clicking yes in this profile will be eligible to sign on behalf of the company using their digital signature. So for the process of registering digital signature is slightly different for individual cases and slightly different for non-individual cases. Next important option which is available in the profile tab is the jurisdiction detail. Left side at the bottom, this option is there, jurisdictional detail. Once we click this button, we will get to know the jurisdictional assessing officer, where the jurisdiction of the case is belonging to. So if I have logged in for this private limited company, I have clicked the jurisdictional detail button. This will show my jurisdictional assessing officer. The range will be given, email ID will be given, and the name of the building will be given. So for any routine task, we can contact to that jurisdictional assessing officer. So it was all about the profile tab which is appearing on the income tax website. The next important tab is for our practice and for our professional purpose is the e-proceeding. Everything in this portal is routed now through e-proceeding, all the communications. So basically this e-proceeding will be the center point for communication between the assessee and the department. As we all can see that on the dashboard homepage, there is an option of pending actions. And once we click this pending actions, we will get 4 or 5 options such as work list, response to outstanding tax demand, e-proceeding, compliance portal, and reporting portal. So e-proceeding is given under the pending action head, and we need to click on this e-proceeding button. Now, before understanding the content of that particular website or that particular web page, first we need to understand the coverage of e-proceeding. What are the matters which will be covered under the e-proceeding tabs? So this is the slide prepared for the same. The e-proceeding service is available to all the registered users to view and submit the response to notices oblique letters issued by the assessing officer or CPC or any other income tax authority. So technically, any authority from the income tax department is issuing any communication whatsoever in nature must be reflected under the e-proceeding tab. The assessee can view and submit the response through this tab only. And for that, the assessee must be a registered user of the portal. If he is not registered, he would not be entitled to log in. And if he is not entitled to log in, then the question of accessing the e-proceeding does not arise. So basically, what type of notices or communication will be covered under the e-proceeding tab? These are the basic examples. Corresponding relating to the defective notices under 139.9, intimation under 245 regarding adjustment of demand. Suppose there is a demand in 1 year and assessee is eligible for the refund in another year. So department used to adjust the refund against the demand first and then issue the balance amount to the assessee. So as per law, before making any adjustment, the CPC or the assessing officer need to issue an intimation under 245. So those type of intimation will be issued under the e-proceeding tab. Third one is prima facie adjustment under 143(1)(a). As we all know, our return which is filed by us under 139 or whatever section is first processed by the system. We call it CPC processing, and that processing is done under 143(1). And system, if find some arithmetical difference between the return which is furnished by us and between the other information which is in possession with the department, so they can give a prima facie adjustment notice under 143(1). Those kind of notices will appear under the e-proceeding tab. So next is the suo motu rectification. Then all notices issued by assessing officer or any other income tax authority. Suppose a case is selected for the scrutiny. So the notices which were earlier used to be issued to the registered postal address of the assessee are now issued electronically, and those notices can be accessed through this e-proceeding portal of the website. Sometimes department may seek some clarification. Those communication will also be done through this tab. And additionally, a registered user can also add an authorized representative to respond to any of the listed notices letters. This is very unique feature whereby earlier what used to happen is, suppose a person is getting scrutiny notice, then he used to execute a power of attorney in favor of some tax practitioner, some chartered accountant, some advocate, or any authorized person. And that person used to go to the department, communicate with the officers, need to submit the response, and then get the matter closed. So now everything is online. So how to appoint the authorized representative in this online manner? There are two options. Either the assessee can share his login credential to the chartered accountant and they can access the notices. But this is not a suggestible option, because once we share our login credential to anyone, then it will be deemed that you have logged in, assessee has logged in. It is not the third person or some chartered accountant who is logging the system, but it will be deemed that assessee has logged in the system as his user ID and password are used. So a better way can be to appoint a chartered accountant or authorized representative by using this authorized representative facility, which is available in the e-proceeding tab. Through that, if someone is appointed, then he will have to log in by his own ID instead of the login ID of the assessee, and he will have access only to the limited proceeding which is required to be handled by him. So how to access this e-proceedings? We need to click the pending action button, and then the third option will be the e-proceedings. And if we click this e-proceeding, then this page will appear. Before going further, we need to understand the basics of the data structure of this particular web page. So if we see here, there are two basic options: for your information and for your actions. These are the two tabs, we can say. So for your action means this tab will contain all those proceedings which are pending at the moment, so that some action can be taken on those proceedings. And on the contrary, for your information tab contain the matters which is only for our information. That means we cannot do anything relating to that proceeding. So all the completed proceeding will fall under the for your information category, and all the pending matters which are for which an action can be taken will appear in this tab for your action. The next important aspect is whenever we click the e-proceeding tab, sometime there appear two options. Normally, a single option will appear here relating to the self, but sometime then another option can appear of other pantan also. So what is the difference in that those two tabs? We will discuss here. If the self tab is clicked, then as it mentioned here that proceedings notices letter issued to the logged in user. Whatever user who has logged in, all the correspondence which are belonging to himself will be appearing under this self tab. And if we click the of other pantan tab, which means that proceeding notices letters issued to the authorized person or third parties. In income tax, we are having a provision called 133(6) notice, which is basically a notice which is issued to third party for independent verification or independent confirmation of some transactions. As we all have learned in audit also, there is a concept of third party confirmations. So instead of taking some detail by auditor from his client, he may seek some information independently from the third party by issuing a third party confirmation. Similar concept is there in income tax also under section 133 subsection 6. Suppose the scrutiny proceeding of Mr. A are going on with the assessing officer. Assessing officer has issued 2-3 notices. Mr. A has filed response to those notices. Now the AO wants to verify whether the details which are given by Mr. A are correct or not. Suppose Mr. A was having some transaction with Mr. B, and Mr. A has given account statement of Mr. B to the assessing officer. Now the assessing officer has a power to issue a notice to Mr. B to independently verify and call for the information which is relating to Mr. A. It is also called the third party confirmation. So if the notice is issued to Mr. B relating to the proceeding of Mr. A, those type of notices will appear in this tab, other pan and tan tab. And all these features and options of the website, you will get more idea when you yourself log into the portal and try to access all these facilities and try to explore all these options. Then you will get to know one by one. The next important aspect is how a notice is appearing, what is the meaning of any proceeding which is appearing in this particular tab. We will discuss one by one. As I already mentioned that for your information tab contains the proceedings which are pending at the moment. So here we will take one practical case study. The proceeding name is assessment proceeding under 143(3). This means a case has been selected for the scrutiny in our normal language. The assessment year is assessment year 2021. Here the PAN of the assessee are given, name of the assessee will be given. It is the date 30th June 2021, which means the proceeding was initiated from this date. This is the starting date of the proceeding. Then the next option in the tab is proceeding limitation date. What is the last time barring date for this particular proceeding? This will be 30th September 2022. And here on right side, as we can see, there are two options. View notices bracket 5. That means total 5 number of notices has been issued for this proceeding to this particular assessee. And the second option is add oblique view authorized representative. As we already discussed that the assessee has an option to add some person to act as authorized representative, and that option can be exercised by clicking this button. This is the summary of the proceeding. Then we click the notice button. And once we click the notice button, we will get this tab which will have details of all the notices which are issued for that particular scrutiny one by one. So as we seen in the last slide, there were total 5 notices. So all the 5 notices will appear here in the sequence manner one by one. And now we will understand one sample notice, that how a notice is issued, how we can access that notice, how we can respond to this notice, and how we can take the adjournment or some time for preparation of the details, and what is the procedure for seeking the video conferencing. Now, where the physical hearing concept is gone away. If we want to make the assessing officer understand something, so assessee has a right to call for or request for a video conferencing. So all these details we will get to know in the coming slides. So as appearing in this page, the notice is issued on 23rd of March 2022. It is issued on 23rd March and the response due date is 7th April. So by 7th April, the assessee is required to file the response. Now, how to know that where is the notice and how to download the notice? We need to click the notice tab over here. And once we click that tab, the detailed notice will appear on our screen. And we need to discuss the same. First of all, the notice communication reference ID is given. Then the email ID of the system is given. And then the email ID of the assessee is given. The notice is issued on this particular email ID, which is mentioned in this page. The subject of the notice and the basic details are given. At the end, at the bottom of the page, there is an option to download the notice. So we need to download that particular notice by clicking this download button. And if we click that download button, the notice will get downloaded in the PDF form. So we can access that notice. We need to go through, read the requirements of the notice, understand the same, and then compile the documents as called for by the officer in the notice. Now it is a faceless assessment. Therefore, our replies and correspondence must be very specific, very to the point, and should be clearly understandable to the assessing officer. Because earlier what used to happen is, suppose there is some plus minus in our replies, but we used to go to the department, we used to have personal meetings with them, and we can make them understand that what we have written in the notice. Now that facility is not available for each and every notice. So our reply must be very factually correct and easy to understand for the assessing officer. After going through the notice, what is the procedure to submit the response? So submit the response button is there in the notice itself. We need to click that button. And please note that submit response is to be given before the response due date, which is given in the notice. And if we click the response button, submit response button, then this page will appear. Here the system will ask that whether the response which we are filing is the partial one or full response. Sometimes, suppose officer is asking for 5 details, but till the given date, we have received only 3 details from the assessee. So what we can do is, we can file a partial response. We can say that out of 5, we are submitting 3 details. 2 details will be submitted in our next submission. So that option can be used. And if we have received all the details, we can file a full response by clicking this full response button. Here we need to submit our response, and all the documents like our submissions, then annexures and everything need to be uploaded to the portal by clicking this option. Click here to select category for the attaching documents. If we click this button, there will be some options to attach various files, and those files can be PDF or Excels, so that assessing officer can access the same. And once we attach all the documents, then we need to press this continue button. Before submission, they will ask a declaration from the assessee that whatever has been submitted are to the best of his knowledge and belief. The information furnished in the statement or statement is correct, and complete, and other particulars shown therein are truly stated. This declaration is asked from by the department from the assessee to make sure that whatever response the assessee is giving is true and correct. As we all know, submitting wrong particulars to the income tax department is not a advisable thing, and it's subject to a penalty and prosecutions. So therefore, one should avoid submitting some false or inaccurate particulars. So before clicking this declaration, we all need to cross check that all the informations which is being submitted in reply to the notice are prima facie and factually correct to the best of our knowledge and belief. Then we will click the submit button. Our response will get submitted to the portal. Next important point is option 2, seeking the adjournment. Suppose the time given is from 23rd March to 7th of April, but till the 7th of April, the assessee has not given some details, or there was some medical issue, or the assessee or even the chartered accountant was out of station due to some preoccupations. Then there is an option to seeking an adjournment. It is better in case we are not having the due information or all the details for the purpose of submission. Always better to seek an adjournment officially from this adjournment seek. By clicking this adjournment, we will have an option to select a date or additional time that please give us additional time of 7 days, 10 days, whatever. By that we can submit the full response. And friends, if we fail to ask for the adjournment and also we fail to submit the details by the due date, or we miss this due date, then assessing officer can proceed further and make the order based on the information which is available on his record. So in order to stop him from taking any adverse view in absence of the information, always better to seek for the additional time by this option. And the last option here is to seek the video conferencing. As everything is in a faceless manner, so whatever submissions we have submitted to the officer, if we want to explain the content of those submissions by making some personal interaction, that can be done by using this utility. We can click here, we can request the assessing officer to allow us the opportunity of personal hearing through video conferencing. Here we need to select a specific date and time and make a request to the officer. He will review our request. If he accepts that request, then a video conferencing link will be shared to the registered email ID. The assessee need to log in the system at that particular time. Using that link, he can interact with the assessing officer in the live manner, like we are discussing in this Zoom meeting, and that proceedings will be a recorded one. Therefore, one has to be very careful while having some personal interaction with the assessing officer. Those interactions must be only to the point and subject oriented only. The next important aspect of the e-filing portal is response to the outstanding tax demand. This is very important to understand, as many of our assessee comes to us that and saying that, sir, my refund is getting adjusted again and again. What used to happen is, unless and otherwise there is demand which is cleared from the system, the department will adjust the future refunds. So it is important for us, for any assessee, to check that whether any outstanding demand is appearing in his name or not. For checking that, we need to go to pending action and click on this respond to outstanding tax demand. And once we click that particular option, whatever outstanding demand relating to an assessee will be reflecting in this system. So in the given case, the demand of 8,47,000 is showing to be outstanding for assessment year 14-15. Then we can also get the other information as well. Okay, on which date this demand was raised? The demand was raised on 30th of March 2022, and the status is pending. That means the system of the department is showing that the payment of this demand has not been done by the assessee. And here the date of last refresh is 27th May, which means this is the position as on 27th May. So we can have an idea that whether this position is latest or not by checking this date. Now, any such demand is appearing in the profile of the assessee, then if the demand is correct and there is no objection, then assessee can pay that demand by clicking on this pay now button. If we click this pay now button, then the summary will appear that so much amount is pending and this much amount is payable. And if you want to pay, then click pay now so that you will be redirected to the payment gateway of the income tax department. And if we click pay now, then we need to attach our net banking credential and we can make the payment. And once we make the payment, the outstanding demand will disappear from here and there will be no outstanding demand. And in some genuine cases, we have already paid the demand or the demand is not payable by us or some incorrect demand is showing in the system. Then there is an option to submit the response. For submitting that response, we need to click this submit response button. Once we click, the system will ask two questions: whether this demand is correct or whether you disagree with the demand. So assessee has to choose either it is correct or disagree. And if it is correct, then they will ask that whether the amount has been paid. If it is already paid, then we need to put here the challan details so that the demand will disappear. And if we disagree with the demand, we need to click that disagree with demand option. Once we click this, the system will ask another question. What is the reason why you are disagreeing with the demand? So we need to assign a particular reason for disagreeing with the demand. For that, we need to click this add reasons button. Additional tab will appear over here. Some reasons are given. So we have to select any one of them. For example, demand paid and challan has CIN. If some demand is already paid, but still it is showing in the system of the department, we need to click these buttons. Then sixth option is appeal has been filed, stay petition filed. Suppose a demand is there, 8 lakh rupees, but assessee is not accepting that demand. Assessee has challenged the order of the assessing officer and filed the appeal. So we can select the button number 6. And sometime we can request for the stay of demand from the assessing officer that this amount of demand is litigated by us in appeal and kindly grant us the stay. So if the stay is granted, then we can select the option number 7. The only justification for adding a proper reason here is that if we disagree with the demand by quoting a correct reason, then our future refunds will not be automatically adjusted against such demand. So it is very advisable, very important for all of us to make sure that and to regularly visit this outstanding demand tab of all our clients. The next point which is relevant for discussion is the refund reissue matters. As sometimes our clients comes and says that sir refund nahi aa raha काफी time से. So we need to log in the portal. We need to check whether the refund is determined and order to be paid. If yes, then why it is not credited to the bank account. So there may be some issues in credit of the refund. That is called as refund failures. As I have already stated, in the profile tab, there was an option of bank account. And suppose if assessee has not validated his bank account in the profile tab, then the refund will be failed. Refund will not be credited to his account. For that, assessee need to make a refund reissue request. Under the service tab, the third option is refund reissue. We need to click that option. Once we click that option, this page will be appearing. Refund reissue. No refund reissue request have been raised. This shows that whether if any pending refund reissue request has been raised. If such request already been raised, then it will show the status of those requests. If there is a refund failure, you can raise a request reissue refund by clicking this button. So this button is for create refund reissue request. For a new request, we need to click this button. And once I click this, the next tab will have all the details of refund failures. whatever number of time the refund which is issued by the department but not credited to bank account, failed refunds will appear over here. So we need to select. It will contain the basic details of assessment year, PAN, communication number, and also the reason for the refund failure. Why the earlier refund was failed. So before requesting the reissue of refund, first we need to understand the reason. The reason given in this case is PAN name is not matching with the bank account name. Sometimes the name in bank account is different. The name in the PAN card is different. So department will prepare a check or ECS in the name which is appearing in the PAN. But when the details are sent to bank for credit, the funds will not get credited because of the mismatch in the name. So here we get the reason. First, we need to update the name of the assessee either in the bank account or in the PAN card. Whatever is the correct name, we need to update the incorrect one. Suppose name in the PAN is correct, then we need to go to the bank, request them to update our name in the bank record by giving our PAN card. Bank will make some necessary correction in their record, and once the update is made from bank side, then we can come to the income tax portal and make this refund reissue request. We need to click the continue, and the refund request will be submitted, and the bank refund will be credited into the new bank account or the updated details in the due times. Next important point is condonation request. Condonation means sometimes the timelines are given in the Income Tax Act and assessee fails to do some particular act within that time given. So for the delay, there is an option of condonation request. For example, all the assessee individuals who are not signing the return by digital signature need to either e-verify the return or send a signed copy to the CPC Bangalore within 120 days of filing the return. That is the time limit given. And suppose a person has not e-verified or even not sent a signed copy to the Bangalore within that particular time, then there is an option of condonation request under the service tab. We can ask for the condonation in submitting the e-verification details. Under that option, we need to select which type of condonation we want. Suppose here the option is given delay in submission of ITR 5. Then we need to select that condonation point and click the continue button. Our condonation request will be created over here. Next important point is tax credit mismatch. As we all know that if there is mismatch in the tax credit, be it advance tax or TDS, whatever, as claimed by us in the income tax return and as appearing in the portal of the income tax, wherever there is a difference, the system will allow credit only to the extent it is appearing in the income tax records. So how to resolve that mismatch, we will discuss in these slides. The option is given under the service tab. The first option is tax credit mismatch. So after login, we need to click the service option and in that tax credit mismatch. And if we click that option, we will be given the PAN number, and the next drop down list is the assessment year. For particular PAN and for a particular year, we need to select the assessment year. Suppose I am selecting assessment year 2021 for this PAN, and then I will click this submit button. So by clicking this, for this assessee, whatever is the tax credit mismatch for assessment year 2021 will be reflected in the next screen. As we all can see, this is the tax mismatch summary for this particular PAN for assessment year 2021. There are two headers: tax credit mismatch for TDS claim amount, and another one is the tax credit mismatch for TCS claim amount. Here the TAN number, name of deductors are given generally, which is hidden over here. The TDS claim amount, the assessee has claimed in the return TDS of 562,610, and against that, how much TDS is appearing in the 26 years is 6,06,000. So there is mismatch. This shows that you have claimed less amount from whatever is the reflecting. So assessee can check this and file the revised return also for the claim of the additional amounts. And next option tax credit mismatch for TCS claim amount. Here the situation is reversed. TDS amount is claimed 27,000, but appearing in 26 years, no data found. So even though assessee has claimed this 27,000, this 36,000, but the system will not give credit as no corresponding amounts are appearing in form 26 years. So it is very important for all of us to timely visit this tax credit mismatch option for all of our clients, for all of our assessees. And if there is some mismatch, first we need to understand whether there is any mismatch or not. And if there is mismatch, and then we need to find out how this mismatch to be sorted out. This facility is very useful. Suppose an example, for example, a big organization is having TDS entry from some 2000 deductors. 2000 parties are deducting TDS for that particular assessee. So in totality, it will be very difficult for him that which particular party has not filed TDS returns, which particular party's TDS is not reflecting in 26 years. Instead of that, the department software makes a reconciliation for us that you have claimed TDS for these parties, and against that, this much amount of TDS is appearing by that particular party. So we can have a summary list from the system itself for the defaulting parties. And wherever there is a difference, we can connect to those parties, we can ask them to rectify their TDS returns. And once they revise their TDS returns, these figures will be updated automatically and the credit mismatch amount will be reduced to zero. Suppose here TCS of 27,000 is not appearing for this particular term. So what we need to do, we need to contact this particular TDS collector and we need to request him to file the TCS return. And once he filed the TCS return, the amount of 27,474 will appear over here and it will be removed out of the mismatch summary. So it is very important as unless and until the mismatch are solved, credit will not be given. The next important point for our discussion is carry forward of TDS credit. As we all know that there is an option of carry forward of the income tax losses and depreciations. But only few of us know that there is also an option of carry forward of the TDS credit as well. How that option works and what is the logic behind it, first we will discuss. There is section 199 in the Income Tax Act which says that credit of TDS will be given in the year in which the corresponding income is offered for taxation. And on the other hand, we have some TDS provisions which says that TDS is to be deducted on earlier of the payment of credit, whichever is early. Suppose a party A is making payment to us on advance basis. Then party is making payment to us on advance basis in March 2022. Correct? So we will not recognize that amount as income in our books. We will show as advance. But what Mr. A will do? Mr. A will deduct the TDS on such advances. And that TDS will appear in 26 years for us and for 26 years of assessment year 22-23. But corresponding income we are going to offer in the next year. So technically, what section 199 says, you claim the TDS credit in the year in which you are showing the income. Whether we are showing income in March 22, no. So whether we are eligible to claim TDS credit under 199 in March 22, no. So what is the modality that TDS is appearing in 26 years of March 22? If we claim in March 23, then this will not appear in that particular 26 years. And if it is not appearing, then credit will not be given in 23. So for that, there is a solution. This is the extract of the ITR form. In ITR form, we are having a scheduled TDS, which contains all the transactions, all the entries relating to the TDS claim. Here, I have taken an example. Entry number 1 for this particular PAN, the TDS deducted is 90,000. Correct? And in this column, TDS credit being claimed this year, we need to read this bracket very carefully. Only if corresponding receipt is being offered for tax this year. Now the question arises that whether this 90,000 TDS, are we showing the income in March 22? The answer is no, because that was an advance. So here we will put figure as 0. We have not shown the income, so we will not claim this TDS as our tax credit. If we put 0 here, then automatically the 90,000 amount will be appearing, will be moved to the last column, which is TDS credit being carried forward, column number 13. So this 90,000 rupees will be carried forward from this year to the next year. This is the entire mechanism of carry forward of the credit. Now the question is how to claim in the next year. So this is the ITR summary for the next year. Again, the scheduled TDS we will discuss. Here the entry number I have put it is 25. The same PAN we need to quote here, TAN of the deductor. And there is an option, unclaimed TDS brought forward. Here we need to put those figures which are brought forward from the previous years. So here I need to put the financial year, that which financial year and how much was the amount. So this was the financial year and this 90,000 was the amount. And now we need to claim that amount in current year. So 90,000 we will keep in the current year claim column. And then the next columns are corresponding receipts offered. So against this 90,000, 90 lakhs are offered as income from business and professions. And the remaining amount would be the TDS carry forward 0. As out of 90,000, entire 90,000 has been claimed and consumed. So there would be no balance. So this is the procedure whereby we can carry forward the TDS and claim the credit of brought forward TDS. And in also while processing such kinds of return also, if we are putting the figures as unclaimed TDS from brought forward from previous year, so whatever year we punch here, the same amount will be matched with the 26 years of that year. So ultimately credit will be given to the same. Now we have an entire tour of the e-filing portals. The next topic of our discussion is the 26 years, its importance, and how to download the 26 years and all that. So first we will understand how to download the 26 years. For downloading 26 years, there are two methods. First method is generally used by most of the persons, but sometimes there are errors in downloading 26 years in this first method. So we have an alternative method also, which both methods will be discussed one by one. In the first method, we need to log in the income tax portal. And once we log in, we need to go to the e-file tab. And in e-file tab, the first option is income tax returns. And if we click the income tax returns, the fourth option will come, view form 26 years. So in this e-file tab, income tax return and then view form 26 years, this button need to be clicked. Once we click this button, the message will appear on the system that you will be redirected to the TDS CPC website, because 26 years is hosted in another website and we are logging from the income tax portal. So whenever we switch from one website to another website, there will be a disclaimer message and we need to confirm. Then only we will be redirected to the TDS CPC website. And once we confirm, then we will be redirected to TDS website. And before proceeding further, we need to click here, which says that I agree to uses and acceptance of 1616 generated from traces. This is mandatory. Unless we tick here, the proceed button will not appear. And after clicking this, we need to proceed. And once we proceed, this window of traces website will appear. Here the link is there. Click view 26 years to view your form 26 years. We need to click this button. And once we click that button, the next screen will be the 26 years. And as we all can see here, the heading is form 26 years. Below that, annual tax statement under section 203 AA of the Income Tax Act. Friends, any form, whatever in the nature, prescribed under the Income Tax Act has its roots from some provisions of the Income Tax Act. A form cannot be issued or notified directly by government without any corresponding provision under the Income Tax Act. So, and the corresponding provisions is already generally mentioned below the title of the form. Here it is mentioned to be annual tax statement under section 203 AA of the Income Tax Act. So 26 years has its roots in section 200 AA. So every one of you are requested to visit to go through the provisions of 203 AA of the Act for a better understanding of any particular form. Here the next option is assessment year. It is a drop down menu. As we can see, the 26 years can be accessed from assessment year 9, 10 and onward years. So we need to select the particular year for which we want to have the 26 years, and then we need to click the next button. Next option is view as. The system gives two options. We can view as HTML and another one is text format. So we will select HTML here. And once we select HTML, then we need to click this view/download button. And once we click this, the form 26 years will appear in the screen. And if you want to export that 26 years, we want to download that 26 years in PDF, then we need to click this export as PDF button. Now, what this 26 years contains are appearing basically below this view/download button, which the content of 26 years will be discussed once we go through both the method of downloading the same. So this was the first method of downloading 26 years. First method was from downloading it from income tax website, e-filing portal. Sometimes once we go to download the 26 years from income tax portal, we can get this type of error, the error in the red. Due to large size of form 26 years, this request can only be processed on demand. Please log in to Traces and submit download request for form 26 years, which would be made available to you in text format. If you have not yet registered on Traces, please register by clicking register as new user on the Traces homepage and selecting type of user as taxpayer user. So sometimes the number of entries in 26 years are very bulky. So those types of 26 years cannot be downloaded from the e-filing portal. And if we try to download that, we will get these types of errors. So as an alternative, what we need to do? We need to go to the Traces portal of the TDS. The portal web address is www.contents.tdscpc.gov.in. Once we click this particular website, this homepage will appear, and on this homepage, we need to click this login button. Once we click this login, the next page will appear as this one. There are two options for login, as a deductor and as a taxpayer. So we need to select login as a taxpayer. We need to put here login ID, password, and PAN number. And if we are the first time user of this portal, first we need to register as a user. We need to make registration by giving our PAN number and basic details. Then we need to generate a password. And once the registration is done, we can log in this portal under the taxpayer category. So we need to put the user ID, password, and PAN for login, and then to click this login button. Once we log in, then there is a tab called view/verify tax credit. In that tab, the very first option is view 26 years. We need to click that option. The next window will be like this. We need to select the assessment years. We need to select the format of the 26 years, HTML, and then we need to click view/download. And once we click the view/download button, this type of message will appear. As already talked that due to large size of form 26 years, this cannot be downloaded straight away. This request can only be processed on demand. So now we are making a request to the TDS CPC system that our 26 years is having large number of entry, and we are requesting you to provide us the copy of 26 years. So these requests can be processed only on demand. So we need to demand the same. Then next is please submit download request for Form 26 which would be made available to you in text format. Click on proceed to submit download request for Form 26 for the selected years. So we need to click this proceed button, and once we click this proceed button, the request will be submitted for the 26 years, and we will be given the request ID number, and the message will read as under. Request for Form 26 has been submitted for the selected assessment year. Your request number is so and so. The file will be made available in the download sections. So after making this request, sometime it takes 2-3 hours to process our request, and after 2-3 hours we need to log in to the traces portal, and then we need to access the Form 26 by this download session. And in download we need to click the first option, requested downloads. Then we will be redirected to this page. We need to select all requested, and then the first request, it will show the assessment year and what is the request type. We ask for the 26 years, and status will be there, submitted, and after 2-3 hours it will be available. It will show as available, and here there will be a download option also. So we can get the 26 years in this alternate method also. So whenever there is a bulky 26 years, it is always better to download the 26 years from the option 2, which is the only available option with us for in case of bulky data. The next point of discussion is 26 years, what it contains. It is very important to discuss and to have an idea of the content of the 26 years. So for that, understanding of the 26 years in practical manner, I have opened 26 years, which will appear like that. For any SSC, the format is the very same. Only the details will differ from case to case basis. As already said, the heading and name of the form is Form 26 years. It is notified under Section 203 AA of the Income Tax Act. Correct. First of all, it will have the basic detail of the SSC, like PAN number, name of the SSC, address of the SSC. It will also show the status of the PAN, whether it is active or inactive, then financial year and assessment year. Then 26 is divided in 5-6 parts. Part A will have the details of the tax deducted at source. So part A of the 26 years will have the details of TDS only. For example, here the table, the details is given. Serial number 1, name of the deductors is generally given. TAN number of the deductor is given. Then the amount paid or credited. This is the transaction value, 10,34,38,900. And on that transaction amount, this is the TDS amount, 20,68,000. This is the total summary of this particular deductor. First of all, we will have a party-wise summary, and then there would be a breakup of that transaction-wise breakup also available. Transaction-wise and date-wise breakup of that party is also available. So in breakup, the relevant sections will also be appearing, that TDS is deducted under 194C. This is the transaction date. That means the date on which the TDS is deducted. Next is the date of booking. Date of booking is the date on which the TDS entry is booked into the 26 years. That means this is the date on which the TDS return was filed by the corresponding party. Then amount paid, credited, TDS deducted and deposited. So part A of the 26 years will have the details of all the TDS which has been deducted in our name by various parties, one by one. First, it will have the consolidated figure party-wise, and then it will have the transaction-wise, section-wise details below the same. Next part of the TDS is part A1, which is details of tax deducted at source for 15G/15H. As we all know that there is a concept of form 15G and H. If we furnish that forms to the corresponding parties, say banker, then those persons will not deduct the TDS. But now the government has made that transactions also under the reporting net. So even though TDS is not deducted, but such types of details are being filed by the deductors, and those details will appear under this part A1. Then part A2 is details of TDS deducted on sale of immovable property under section 194IA. So whenever a party makes sale of the immobile property, the purchaser is required to deduct TDS at the rate of 1% if the amount exceeds rupees 50 lakh rupees. So all types of land transactions or immobile property transactions on which the TDS is deducted by the purchaser will appear in part A2. The next part is the part B, which will contain the details of tax collected at source. It is very same in the manner of TDS only. The only thing is here it will contain the details of TCS. So all the parties who has collected TCS from us will be reported under this particular option. Then option 3, part 3 is the details of tax paid other than TDS and TCS. So whenever we make some payment of tax, be it advance tax, regular tax, self-assessment tax, all types of those payment will appear under part C. Here the major head, minor head, then the tax amount, surcharge amount, cess amount, penalty, interest, others. These are different heads of the payments of tax. Here it will be the total amount. Then the particular BSR code of the challan, date of deposit, challan serial number, all these details are given and appears under the part C tab of the 26 years. Next is the part D of 26 years, which is the details of the paid refunds. So whenever a refund is paid to the assessee, those refunds will appear in this 26 years under part D tab. And then the last one is part E, details of SFT transactions. Suppose assessee has entered into some big value financial transactions which are covered under the SFT mechanism. All these things we will discuss, all about SFT we will discuss in the coming slides. But the transaction wise large transactions, reportable transactions under the SFT will be appearing under the part E of 26 years. Then we have some part F, details of tax deducted at source on sale of immobile property. Suppose the assessee is purchasing the immobile property, then those transactions will appear under part F. And part G is for the TDS defaults. Any persons filing TDS returns, in the same manner, our income tax return is processed. Similarly, the TDS returns also processed by the TDS CPC. And on processing such TDS returns, if there is some defaults, then those default will appear under part G of the TDS 26 years. So here one can have a look of various defaults and either make them good or make the payment of the default. Part H is the recently introduced part of the 26 years. This will have the details of turnover as per GSTR 3B. So if a person is registered under the GST and filing GSTR 3B returns on monthly basis or quarterly basis, so the turnover which is appearing in the GSTR 3B filed by the assessee will cross appear under the 26 years portal of the income tax as well, because the CBDT and CBEC, both the departments have made internal tie-ups for cross exchange of information. So as the GST registered assessee, a person will file GST return before the CBEC, but that department cross share that particular information with the income tax department that this person is showing this much turnover under the GST. So you can have a cross check whether the same amount of turnover is shown in the income tax or not. Correct? So in this example also, monthly report is given, and so for May 2021, the taxable turnover which is offered in GST is suppose 7 crore 76 lakhs 89,480. So in income tax also, these figures we need to, this is very helpful for us also to cross check that whether this much amount of turnover is appearing in the books of assessee, in the income tax return also, and this particular reporting also being part of the 3CD form as well. Now, the much relevant topic is the basic difference between the 26 AS and AIS. We all get to know, get to hear both these terms nowadays, 26 AS and AIS. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं 26 AS को देखो वो ज्यादा फाइनल है, and some people says that AIS is more useful and department rely on the AIS. So first before we understand the content of AIS, we need to, in principle, understand the difference between the 26 years and AIS. So this slide is containing the basic difference between both the two forms. Old form 26 years was governed by section 203 AA of the Act. As I have already highlighted while discussing the 26 years, that the form 26 years is notified under section 203 AA of the Income Tax Act. Correct? But it was notified till 31st of May 2020 only. Both this form and sections has been omitted by Finance Act 2020 with effect from 1st of June 2020. So Finance Act 2020 made some amendment whereby the sections under which the 26 years was issued itself is omitted. The rule 31AB under which the form of 26 years was given was also omitted by Finance Act 2020. In the very same act, the amendment in section 285 BB was made, and the new AIS, annual information statement, which is the technically new 26 years, is notified. Government issued a notification on 28th of May 2020 giving the format and form of new 26 years. New AIS, which is also called as form 26 years, shall cover more transactions than the earlier form 26 years. The display of the form 26 years on the TRACES portal will also continue in parallel till the new AIS is validated and completed operational. So what is the summary of entire discussion? Entire discussion summary is that the form 26 years that we are used to understand and used to discuss is technically omitted by Finance Act 2020. And the new AIS, annual information statement, the name of AIS is also given as the form 26 years. So what we have now is old 26 years and new 26 years. But this AIS is presently in the initial phase, and therefore the department has decided that the old 26 years will continue to exist in parallel till the new AIS is completely operational. So therefore, at moment we are having both the documents, earlier 26 years as well as the new AIS. The basic difference in AIS at 26 years is the fact that the new AIS will have some more additional information than the earlier one. So what will be the more and additional information? What is all about the new annual information system and taxpayer information summary? We will discuss in the coming slide. Here we will discuss all you need to know about the AIS. AIS stands for Annual Information Statement. This is one type of new 26 years. The AIS is a statement of complete financial transactions for a particular year. The focus is on the word complete financial transactions. So this document will contain in holistic each and every transactions of the assessee which are reported to the government by various authorities. We will discuss. The second point is new information sources which are not available in the existing 26 years has now been added in AIS to promote voluntary compliance and to enable seamless pre-filing of the information. The government is focused on collection of the maximum information from third party so that government can provide us pre-filled ITR itself. Government will give us the pre-filed income tax return of ourselves, that we just need to verify the transaction and submit the return. And fourth purpose of AIS is to deter the non-compliance. Sometimes a transaction which is not reported in 26 years, so the assessee used to have habit to omitting or non-disclosing the same. But once all these transactions are now being part of the AIS, so it will definitely deter the non-compliance on the part of the assessees. Friends, this is the notification that I was talking about. Notification was issued on 28th of May 2020, and by this notification was issued under 285 BB of the Income Tax Act, and here the rule 114I, which is annual information statement, was newly inserted into the income tax rules. And in that notification, this new format of AIS was also given. And on the left side top corner, you all can see that the name of this statement is given. Two names of this statement are given. First one is the Form 26AS and another one is the Annual Information Statement. So we can call it as New 26AS as well as the AIS. So what all the details this AIS will contain, we will discuss. There are two parts of the AIS. Part 1 will have the general information of the taxpayer. The screenshot of the part 1 is given in this slide, which will have the basic and general information of the taxpayer, such as taxpayer's name, date of birth, date of incorporation, then address of the assessee, email address, mobile number, Aadhaar card number, and PAN details. This is the part A, which is the general information of the taxpayer. Then now coming to the part B. Part B of the AIS will appear something like that, like a screenshot appearing in this page. It will have 5 tabs. We will discuss one by one. First tab is the TDS/TCS information. So this will include the TDS/TCS deducted. For example, TDS on salary, on FD interest, on rent, etc. is reported under this tab. All type of TDS and TCS transactions which will be reported under this tab. The next one is SFT. SFT means specified financial transactions like interest from saving bank account, fixed deposit, purchase and sale of securities, mutual fund, etc. All those SFT transactions will be reported under this second tab. We will discuss in detail about the content of SFT, which transactions are reported, how to report in the coming slides. Then third one is the payment of taxes. This will include the payment of advance tax and self-assessment tax, which is paid by the assessee. Third one is the demands and refunds. Outstanding demand of the previous year and refund credited during the financial year are reported under this tab. And other information. Other information will include information in relation to sub-rule 2 of 114I, such as interest on refund, outward foreign remittance, purchase of foreign currency, etc. So this is the basic structure of the AIS, part 1 and part B. Now, how to access the AIS? We have heard a lot about the AIS, but it is very important to understand how we can access this particular AIS. So accessing the AIS is very easy. You can access your AIS using the e-filing portal. For that, we need to log into the income tax portal. Here we have logged in and this page will appear. And after login, we need to click the service tab. And in service tax, the last option, we need to click this annual information statement AIS. And once we click this window will appear. As we have already discussed that whenever there is a reference to another website, we are redirected. Before the redirecting, we need to confirm by clicking the proceed button. So here we will click on the proceed button. And once we proceed further, we will be redirected to the new AIS portal of the income tax department. So on the home page of the portal, various instructions are given. And then there are 2 tabs, AIS and activity history. So first we need to click on the AIS tab. Once we click that AIS, this particular page will appear before us. The left side is, this page has 2 parts, left side and right side. Left side contains the taxpayer information summary, TIS, and the right side contains the annual information statement, AIS. Now, both are very confusing terms. So it is very important to understand what this left side contains, TIS, and what the right side AIS contains. So for that, we have given that TIS provides aggregated value of TDS, TCS, mutual fund transaction, etc. It will help the taxpayer in filing the tax return. So TIS is technically the aggregation. Here we will get the aggregated summary. Here we will not get the transaction wise summary. It is the aggregated of the AIS. And second is the AIS, which provides comprehensive view of the information in the TIS. So whatever information is appearing in the TIS, the AIS will have the transaction-wise detail, comprehensive detail of the same. However, Form 26 years will be available till the new AIS is validated and the portal is completely operational. As we have already discussed that the old 26 years will continue to exist for some time till this new portal is fully functional. So here we need to select the particular financial year for which we need to access the AIS oblique TIS. For downloading the TIS, we need to click this download button. And once we click this download button, the TIS will be downloaded. This window will appear. And TIS is mostly downloaded in the PDF format. We need to click this button, which will give the TIS for document. TIS provide the summarized information of the AIS. And once we download the PDF, then we will open the PDF. And once we try to open that PDF file, it will ask for the password, as the file would be the password protected. So the password for accessing that particular TIS file would be the PAN number of the assessee in uppercase and followed by the date of incorporation or date of birth without any space, DDMMYYYY. Suppose PAN number is 10 digit, as we all know that PAN number is the 10 digit unique number. So we need to put here the PAN number in uppercase, and then if the date of incorporation of the entity is, suppose today's date 29 May 2022, so followed by the PAN in uppercase, we need to put 29052022. Then we will be able to open that particular file. Now we will discuss how to download the AIS. Similar method is there. Like TIS, we need to click this download button under the AIS tab. Once we click, it will ask which format you want to download. So let's see. The next window will appear before us is the annual information statement PDF file, annual information statement JSON utility, and AIS consolidated feedback. So what are all these three options and how these are useful, we will discuss. SCF file can be downloaded only if taxpayer has previously given the feedback. So this third option, which is the AIS feedback file, this can be downloaded only after we give feedback to the AIS information. And how to give that feedback, we will discuss in the later slides. And if the AIS is having too much of data, then we need not to worry. We can process it offline also by downloading the AIS utility from the AIS portal. So as the data would be bulky, large data, it is difficult to process that online because of some timing restrictions and all that. We can process those large data in offline utility also. For offline processing of the data, we need to click this resource button on the AIS portal. Once we click this resource button, then we will be redirected to this page. There are a lot of utilities, user manuals and training materials are given. So for understanding how the TIS AIS works, one can download these user manuals, training materials. And the third option is the utility. So this is the JSON based utility. We need to download it from the official portal only. And once we download this utility, download the AIS utility and open it in your computer. Once we open this utility, this will appear something like this. And for initial installing of the utility, we will need the active internet connection. After that, we will not need the active internet connection also, as it will be completely offline, no need of internet also. Only for the installation time, we need the active internet connection. The utility which is downloaded will appear something like this. Once we need to download the AIS information, for using the utility, the AIS information need to be downloaded not in the PDF format, because utility will not read the PDF content. Utility will read the JSON file. So in the download session of the AIS, the second option, annual information statement JSON file, we can download this JSON file. And as already submitted, that if the size is large, then it will be request will be submitted and it will be available after some time under the activity history. And once the file is downloaded, then there is an import button in the utility. We need to click that import button. The file will be imported in the utility. And once the import is done successfully, all the transactions which are appearing in the AIS will now appear in your offline software of the computer. So first transaction, suppose for example, is interest from deposit 194A, TDS under section 94A. So total count is 107, correct? And the total amount of TDS is 5 crore 16 lakh 59,000. So if we click this expand button, then all the 107 particular entry wise transaction will be reflected in the following manner. The information detail can also be downloaded in CSV format by clicking the download icon. We can also edit this information in bulk in Excel also by downloading the same in the CSV format. So for that, we need to click this button. The data will be available in the CSV and we can very well modify in Excel also, because processing the data in Excel is very easy and comfortable and fast also. So now what is the feedback? As we can see in the AIS, the last column is feedback and under that it is written is optional. Suppose a transaction serial number 1 is reported is amount paid credited TDS of 26,413. TDS deducted is 1981. Whether these transactions is appearing relating to us, whether the transaction amount is correct, belonging to someone else, or reported repeatedly, all these options can be corrected through providing a feedback in the portal. So feedback on the AIS, you can give feedback on the information which is displayed on the AIS. What is the main benefit of AIS is that it shows lot of information relating to your PAN, which is collected by number of entities. And what is the icing on the cake is it also provides us an option to modify the information as well. We have no direct right to modify, but we can request a feedback that this particular transactions which is reported in AIS does not belong to me, or has been reported twice, or has been reported with some wrong amounts. So type of feedback, there are 3 types of feedback. Feedback on accuracy of the information displayed, number 1. Number 2 is modify information value display. The amount which is displayed can be modified by us. And third one is option for customized feedback based on the information category. So for some type of informations, there are customized feedback also we can give. So how to give this feedback, we will discuss in the coming slides. Now we will discuss how to provide feedback on the AIS information. Here, uploading to the AIS portal, the saved AIS draft feedback file can be imported on the AIS utility again to continue working on JSON file as required. Now we will export this file and upload it on the AIS portal. How to upload, we will discuss in the coming slide. Again, we need to log into the Insight portal. Next to the download button, there is an upload button also in the AIS field. We need to click that upload button. This window will appear. Here we need to drag or drop the JSON slides which is updated after our feedback. Once the file is selected, we need to click the upload button and the file will be successfully submitted to the department. So there were suppose 107 transactions, and out of that we have given feedback that 80 transactions are correct, but the remaining 27 transactions, there were little differences under various heads. So all those feedback will go to the income tax department and reflect to us in the activity history. We can verify that whether a report has been submitted or not under the activity history tab. And once we submit the response to the AIS, AIS feedback acknowledgement will also be generated. We can keep it for our future records. These are the 4 important terms which need to be understood. Reported value is the value which is reported in the AIS by the system. modified value, suppose 90,000 is reported. Now we say that 90,000 not the correct amount, actual amount was 9,000 only. So if we put 9,000 as the correct value, that will be considered as a modified value by the taxpayer. And then the department will cross verify which one is the correct and process the final value. Suppose department come to a conclusion, then 9,000 is the final value. Then under the processed value tab, the final value of 9,000 will be reflected. This is the AIS after giving our feedbacks. And now what is the purpose of this entire exercise? So once we give all our feedback, the final derived value will be imported by the department in our pre-filled ITRs, such as salary income, income from other source, saving bank interest, time deposit, dividend, house property. All such transactions will automatically reflected in our income tax returns. Now there are some do's and don'ts of AIS which we need to go discuss in brief. Some do's: we need to view our AIS regularly. Then check your TIS to confirm the value used for pre-filling of the return. We need to regularly view our AIS as well as the TIS. And if there is some difference, it is our duty to give the correct feedback on the information which is displayed in the AIS. Then use AIS utility to view AIS and provide feedback in the transaction count is high. And also they use the latest version of AIS utility. And something which we should not do, which should abstain from doing, is don't share your e-filing credential with anyone. Don't provide incorrect feedback on the AIS. Suppose the transaction is correctly reported, still you are saying that in the feedback the assessee is saying that information is not correct, it should not be done. Don't use old version of AIS JSON file. Now these are the transactions which are reportable under the AIS. The list is quite big and can be accessed to the presentation which can be shared after the session. As much as 53 transactions from the different entities, different organizations are being collected by the income tax and will be reported under the AIS. So we can say that AIS will be our 360-degree profile of the assessee. Now next important topic is online payment of taxes. How to make payment of taxes in the online manner. To understand the process, I have attached a short video which I will play for benefit of all of you, which will show the process for making the online payment of taxes on the portal. So for making payment of taxes, we need to visit the official website of the TIN NSDL, and there in online services there is option of make payment online. We need to select our concerned particular bank and then fill up the required detail as mentioned in the previous video. Next is the annual information return. We called it as AIR. Previously it was called as AIR, but now the same has been renamed as SFT return. SFT stands for specified financial transactions. Vidyatam, can you confirm just that the voice of the video was clear in the previous?
The voice is not there, but it is clear.
It's
Okay.
clear. It's clear, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So let me check for the voice, because also in the next slide there is voice also in the video. Okay. Now we will discuss the practical aspects of the SFT and its filing. For that, there are two short videos from the income tax portal itself. I will play for the benefit of all.
Are you a bank, mutual fund, registrar, company?
Ma'am, can you confirm that now voice is coming?
Yes, it is coming perfectly fine.
Okay, let me replay.
Are you a bank, mutual fund, registrar, company issuing bonds, debentures, shares, or a person liable for audit under Section 44AB, an authorized person under FEMA, and any other specified person falling under Section 285BA of Income Tax Act? Do you know you need to register as a reporting person and generate ITTR EIN, Income Tax Department Reporting Entity Identification Number is a unique 16-digit identification number which is used for filing Statement of Financial Transactions SFT. Income Tax Department has launched Reporting Portal, a new dedicated portal for reporting entities. Let's have a look at the registration process. Go to www.report.insight.gov.in and click on Register. You will be redirected to e-filing website. Enter reporting entities login credentials of e-filing portal, including captcha code, and then click on Login. In case you are a new taxpayer or taxpayer but not registered, register yourself on Income Tax India efiling.gov.in before registering as a reporting entity. Once you have logged in, go to My Account and click on Reporting Portal. Click on Confirm and you will be directed back to the reporting portal. Select the option New Registration and click on Continue. Now, select the form type and reporting entity category type corresponding to the form type selected. If your category type is not listed, as in case of 44AB, auditable cases, select Others. Start filling reporting entities details like name, address, etc. and click on Add Principal Officer. You will be required to fill the details of Principal Officer. Principal Officer is an officer designated by the reporting entity who can add, remove and change users. At this stage, you may submit the application or add designated director, nodal officer and other users. Designated director is the only person who can upload the SFT, so it is advised to add designated director. Designated director can be the same person. Once you submit, a confirmation message and registration request number will appear with the option to download the acknowledgement PDF. All the added users will soon receive a confirmation email along with their temporary login credentials, which needs to be changed post-login. Now, each registered user of the reporting entity can log in to the reporting portal using these credentials. Access right may differ for Principal Officer, Designated Director and Nodal Officer. If you already registered on the e-filing website as a reporting entity, the registered users must have received an email from inside of Income Tax Department with temporary login credentials in order to access the reporting portal. The password must be changed after first login. For detailed FAQs pertaining to specific area of concern, use the help feature. In case you don't find a solution, raise a help ticket using the Contact Us. This feature facilitates you to send an email or ask for a callback. Detailed user guides are available under the resource section of the reporting portal. Reporting entities are vital to IT department's information network, which helps to create a tax-compliant society. Let's join hand with Operation
So this was
Clean
all about
Money.
the practical aspects of the SFT. Now, how SFT return is to be filed, what is the procedure, what things to be taken care, which will be reflected in this video.
This video will help the reporting entity or person to submit the reports in Form 61A. Let's first see what all is required to submit Form 61A. The designated director will need the following: XML file prepared using report generation and validation utility, generic submission utility for digitally signing the form and creating secured statement package, digital signature of the designated director, and make sure to have Windows 7.1 or above, Java version 1.8, update 101 or later, and unzip software. Let's begin the process of submission of Form 61A. Go to Reporting Portal and under Resources section, click on Utilities. Download the generic submission utility. To run the utility, extract the jar file. At this stage, keep the digital signature of the designated director connected to the system through USB and open the utility. Go to Secure XML tab and click on Browser XML file to select the XML file prepared in earlier utility. After selection, click on Generate Package. Select the digital signature and enter the password. Click on Sign. Secure statement package is ready for upload. This package is saved with tar.gz extension at the desired location. There are two methods of uploading the package. Number 1, through Reporting Portal, or number 2, through generic submission utility. Let us see how to upload the package at the Reporting Portal. The designated director needs to log in at the Reporting Portal. Select the form type and ITDREIN number. Select designated director as authorized person type and click Proceed. In case the digital signature of the designated director is not registered at Reporting Portal, go to Profile tab and click Upload Digital Signature. For uploading the package, go to Statements tab and fill the upload form. In case of correction statement, additional field Original Statement ID will also appear. Now, browse the package using the statement upload link and upload the same. A manifest check will run to match the form details with Part A. If there are any errors, then the same needs to be rectified. If the upload is successful, acknowledgement message will be displayed along with the transaction number and email will be sent to the registered ID. Post SECMA and file level checks will run and unique statement ID will be generated, which will be used for future references and shall be communicated through email. To view uploaded statements, go to Uploaded Statement link under the Statements tab. For cases where statement is uploaded, processed for data quality and DQR is generated, it shall be visible under Statement Pending for Correction tab. Only completely successful statements shall be visible under Uploaded Statement tab, where there are no defects or exceptions in any of the reports. Now, let us look at the method of uploading the package using the generic submission utility. Go to Statement Upload link under the Statement tab. The designated director needs to log in. Click on Browser option to import the package and validate to check for manifest errors. On successful upload, acknowledgement message will be displayed and email will be sent to registered ID along with transaction number. Uploaded statement can be searched either by providing form type, SFT code and reporting period, or by providing transaction ID along with form type. To understand the process of rectification of defects in reports, watch the training video
these
on...
two videos will basically give the practical basic insights of SFT and its filing. So I would recommend each of the students to have a practical filing experience by logging to the Insight portal and trying to download the utility and filling even the dummy data, even though you are not having the practical real life case in your hand. But still, for knowledge purpose, one should try on this utility for a hands-on. In the next and the last topic of our discussion is advance tax and related provisions. So what is the meaning of advance tax? Advance tax means income tax should be paid in advance instead of lump sum payment at the year end. It is also known as pay as you earn tax. These payments have to be made in installments as per the due dates provided by the income tax department. So as the name suggests, advance tax means we need to pay tax in advance, pay as we earn. Next question is, who should pay the advance tax? So the answer is all the SSC having total tax liability exceeding rupees 10,000 or more in a financial year. Suppose your tax liability is 10,000 or more, then we need to file the we need to pay the advance tax. senior citizens who are aged 60 years or older are not required to file to pay the advance tax if they are not having a business income. And assessee is opting for the presumptive taxation, 44AD or 44ADA, are required to pay advance tax only in the one installment on or before the 15th of March. Now, these are the due dates for payment of the advance tax. For all types of assessee, now there is similar due dates, whether it is a corporate assessee or a non-corporate assessee. 4 due dates, 4 installments are given. First one is the on or before 15th of June. Second is on or before 15th of September. Third is on or before the 15th of December. And last but not the least, on or before the 15th of March. And slabs of advance tax, in the first installment, we need to make 15% of advance tax. In the second, we need to make the 45% of the total advance tax, less whatever we have paid already. In the third, we need to make payment of advance tax up to 75%. And in the fourth installment, 100% of the advance tax is to be paid. Suppose a company is estimating total tax liability of rupees 1 crore at the beginning of the year. So by 15th of June, that company need to make payment of at least 15% of the advance tax, say 15 lakh rupees. For second quarter, September due date, it need to pay 45%. But somehow the funds were short and the total payment for the September quarter was made up to 40 crore, which means 15 crore already paid plus 25 crore additionally paid. So instead of 45%, the company paid 40% of the advance tax. So what will be consequences? That the company will need to make payment of interest on the shortfall of this 5%. And suppose in the third installment, the company was having sufficient enough liquidity, it can make payment even of 75% or more than that also. If some excess payment is made, then that payment can be adjusted in our next due installment calculations. Advance tax on the capital gain. This was the questions by Sushil sir, that how the advance tax on capital gain is to be calculated. Friends, as we all know that advance tax, for payment of advance tax, we need to make the estimation of income. And estimation of income can be made only for the regular nature of incomes only. Capital gain is not regular in nature. It happens on uneven frequency and which cannot be estimated at the beginning of the year. So government has also understood and accepted this proposition of law that advance tax on capital gain cannot be anticipated in advance from the beginning of the year. Therefore, it is provided that on capital gain, the entire advance tax is to be paid in the next following due date from the date of earning capital gain. Suppose we are selling some land and earning capital gain in December, 31st of December. So assessee cannot be compelled to make capital gain payment advance tax in the earlier 2 installments, that is June and September, and even December, because 15th December date has already been gone by the date of transaction, which was 31st December. So what assessee need to do is to make payment of 100% of tax on the capital gain in the next following advance tax installment, which is on the 15th of March. So for that capital gain amount, if there is shortfall in advance tax in the earlier installment, there will not be any additional interest. Now, what if there is some default in making payment of advance tax? There are 2 options. There are 2 provisions: interest under section 234B and 234C. 234B interest is for non-short payment of advance tax. 234B interest is leviable at the rate of 1% per month for the period of default till the date of payment. And interest under section 234B is applicable when your tax liability after reducing TDS for the financial year is more than 10,000 and you did not pay any advance tax. And second, you paid the advance tax, but the advance tax which is paid by you is less than 90% of the assessed tax. So if your tax liability is exceeding 10,000 and still you have failed to pay advance tax, you would be liable for 234B. And if you have paid the advance tax, but short paid the same to the extent of 90% of assessed tax, then interest under section 234B is leviable. Suppose 1 crore was to be payable, assessee has paid 80 lakhs in 4 installments. Still, he will be liable for the advance tax on the difference of 20 lakhs. But in the same case, if the assessee makes payment of 91 lakh in totality of the advance tax in all the 4 installments, then he will be exempted from 234B even though there was a shortfall of 9 lakh rupees, because that shortfall is within the limit of 10%. Now, how the interest of 234C? As we said that 234B interest is leviable on the non-payment or short payment of advance tax. 234C is leviable for the deferment in the installment of the advance tax. Suppose in the first installment, 15% was to be payable, but the assessee has paid only 10%. And remaining 5% is added in the next installment. In next installment, he has paid entire 45%. But still, as there was shortage of 5% in the first installment, instead of 15%, he has paid 10%. So for the short amount, that is for 5%, the assessee will be liable for interest under 234C for a period of 3 months. So this table is the basic. This table contains the basic idea for calculation of the advance interest on 234C. For example, if we take the fourth example, if the advance tax paid on or before 15th March is less than 100% of the amount, then simple interest at the rate of 1% for the 1 month. And as we have noted that the 3 installments, that is June, September and December, if there is default in short payment or deferment of the advance tax in these 3 quarters, the period of interest would be 3 months. And for the last installment, if there is some default, the period of interest would be only 1 month, because from 15th March to 31st March, there are gap of 15 days only. And for 15 days, the interest for 1 month is calculated. And beyond 31st March, as we already noted, that provision of 234B will be applicable. So that's all from my end. I conclude my presentation over here, and over to Chairman sir and moderator for the question answer session.
Thank you, Sunil ji. So next we have a question and answer session. I'll hand it over to Aditya Maheshwari ji. You can pose the question from our speaker.
Thank you, Vidhi ji. Superb presentation, Sunil ji. First of all, I'd like to give my thanks to CS Sushil Goyal sir, Chairman SSEB, for giving me an opportunity to moderate this particular session. Sunil ji, you have been superb in giving us the guided tool of the entire income tax portal. I feel you have covered in totality the entire income tax portal, right from in a very, very simple language and in a very lucid way, the way students can understand the portal much better.
Thank you.
I'm sure the students would have been benefited with your presentation. And there has been a plethora of questions over the session, which has come in the portal. So I'll request Sunil ji if you can answer a few of those questions.
Definitely.
So
Sir.
to begin with, there's a question from Rajkot. Is DSC compulsory for all SSC?
No, DSC is not compulsory for all the SSC. Those persons who are required to file auditable returns, the DSC is compulsory. For non-audit cases, the e-verify option is also there.
Okay. One question which is a quite practical question which has come up is that how to link PAN and Aadhaar when there is difference in the names in both the documents.
So first, the person need to choose which name is the correct one, name in the PAN or name in the Aadhaar. We need to find out the incorrect name document, and then we need to apply for the rectification in that document. Suppose name in PAN is not correct, then we need to file PAN correction form with the income tax authority, giving our Aadhaar number and Aadhaar card details that my name as per Aadhaar is so and so. So kindly update it in your records. And once the document is updated and the name is same in both the document, then linking can be done.
Okay. So can we understand if the names are not in similar way, so it will not be linked?
Yes, definitely. Unless the name on both the document are not exactly same will not be linked.
Right. similar to Aadhaar and PAN question, one question is there from Kochi, wherein if there are differences in addresses given in the PAN and Aadhaar, which address should be considered as address for communication? And if I add from my side, can address for communication can be given the addresses which are not neither there in the PAN or neither there in the Aadhaar?
Okay. So I'm taking your questions and also the questions of the participants in a way that for the website of income tax, nowadays only relevant things are mobile number and email ID. Both these things must be accurate and active one. As far as the communication address is concerned, there are two things. In PAN application, the address is for their permanent records. And in the income tax profile, the address can be updated without giving any supporting document. So update field is totally flexible. We can give any even third address also, which is neither as per PAN or not as per Aadhaar. So at the address of the assessee, physical corresponding address of the assessee is not having so much weightage in the recent time. Only thing, mobile and email must be correct.
Okay. This is a question from Pune. What is the time limit for resolving grievance filled on the ID portal? When they are put on the grievance in the income tax portal, within what time they are supposed to respond to it?
Actually, officially there is no time limit, but as per the internal guideline of the department, the grievance should be resolved in shortest possible time, and not within that. Then it should be reasonable period can be taken for 90 days, as per the internal guideline. But we have no official any document in support of that.
Okay.
And if the grievance is not resolved on the income tax website, we can lodge a CP-gram request also. So which will in turn expedite the matter. Okay.
The CP-gram is what we can directly write the grievance to the Prime Minister of India.
Yes, yes. Because for grievance we have two options. Either the e-Nivaran facility of the income tax portal. That will be that is mechanism of income tax department itself. And if the things are not getting sorted out from the e-Nivaran, then we can make a reference on PM portal, and from PM portal will be routed through proper channel to the concerned officer for the resolution with reporting to the PM portal as well.
Right. Thank you. Another question which has come is in regard to adjournments. That are there any number of caps for asking adjournments?
So
how many times I can ask for the adjournment?
Yes, I will answer both the questions. The first one is that the maximum adjournment can be taken seeked for 14 days, not more than that. And even the adjournment for the particular notice can be seeked for only once, because no repeat adjournment seeking button or tab is there.
Okay. One more question has come in regard to uploading of the documents on notices. How many number of pages can be uploaded, or is there any cap for the size of the document to be uploaded?
Yes. Sometimes the department or the assessing officer keeps on asking very lengthy documents, bulky details, and all these details are to be required to be submitted only in the online mode. There's no physical file required to be submitted. So what we need to do is we need to either get the soft copy from the system, or we are having the hard copy. Then we need to scan all those documents in properly readable format and then submit the same. And in a particular single submission, there is a capping of 10 attachments with a particular single attachment size up to 5 MB only. So we need, if the data is more bulky than the 10 attachment, then we can have 5 MB size each, and in a single submission we can have 10 attachments. So if your submissions is running into suppose 25 attachments, then you need to submit in 3 parts.
10 each.
Yes.
Okay. There's a question from Pune again. How to migrate PAN from one AO to other online?
For that, we need to make a request under section 127 for transfer of jurisdiction with the existing AO as well as to the AO to whom we want to transfer. And in the request also, we need to give the reasons why we need to transfer from one AO to other because of some shifting, location shifting by the SSC or some address change and everything. Suppose SSC is migrated from city A to city B, then he can request for PAN update.
Is it to be done online or is it to be done offline?
No, it is to be done offline to the judicial assessing officer.
One more question. I mean, is it mandatory to pay interest under Section 234A, B, and C, or any way that we can, because of some reasonable cause, if we have not been able to pay the taxes on time? Is
Yes.
there any way of avoiding it, not paying it?
So it is no relaxation is available on case-to-case basis. That is number one. And recently we have gone through the Corona pandemic time, and also there was a lot of genuine hardship to a lot of assessees. So CBDT kept on extending the time limits for filing returns and all that. So by that, the default period can be exempted by CBDT on a general basis.
Okay.
Not on case-to-case basis. On case-to-case basis, interest under Section 234 A, B, C are mandatory one, and Supreme Court in MH Anjunwala Ghaswala judgment also, it is given that interest cannot be exempted on case-to-case basis. Either it can be done on general direction or it is mandatorily to be charged.
Okay. Another question has come: how to secure our e-filing login?
Yes, for this portal of the income tax gives added security feature in terms of two-layer security. First one is the password that we routinely entered and for the login. Another secure access facility given is the each time OTP based, Aadhaar OTP based logins. So this is the two-level security. First, you need to put your password, then you need to continue. Then system will ask for the Aadhaar generated OTP. That OTP, if it's put and matched with the OTP which is generated by the system, then you will be allowed to log in. So in that way, you can secure your login.
Okay. One question is coming: can we claim TDS without the same appearing in 26 AS?
Yes, this is very interesting question. System will definitely not allow at the prima facie level because credit is not appearing in the system. But then the assessee has to make a case that look, this is my income. I have offered this income, that TDS has been deducted by the party, but the counterparty has failed to deposit that TDS. So it is their default. You have all the right to collect that default from those parties. You cannot penalize me in denying the credit for the same. So assessee need to produce all the documents and then make a genuine case that I have shown the income, my TDS has been deducted, so credit should be given. And we are having judicial pronouncement in support of the same. A lot of judicial pronouncement are there in that manner. But it is tough in this system-oriented manner because system will never give.
Right.
Only through litigation this can be obtained.
One very long question has been asked in a very shortest possible manner. From Aurangabad, how can we calculate capital gain short term and long term? I feel if you can avoid this particular question, or if you choose to.
Yes, because this is the basic thing.
I mean, it will be another 2 hours will be required to answer this particular question. So momentarily we can avoid it. So somebody from Aurangabad has asked it, so you can further mail the question directly to sir, and sir can answer that particular question.
Definitely.
How to resolve the issue when the OTP is not registered? This is a question from Devgar also. How to verify Aadhaar when OTP is not coming on mobile?
Mobile number which was registered in the Aadhaar number. People keep on changing their mobile number and all that. So these are the two reasons the OTP is not getting received on the particular client. So that can be resolved by going to the Aadhaar center by updating the correct mobile number which is active and which they are regularly using in their Aadhaar profile. Once the mobile number is updated in Aadhaar record, it takes 3 to 4 days to reflect in income tax record also. Then the OTP will be generated and received.
Okay. And Extension of the question, how to verify ITR with Demat account? I mean,
Yes.
procedure to link it.
The e-verify option is given in the income tax website by verifying the ITR using the Demat accounts. So we need to click that particular option. We need to have the Demat details handy. We need to give the NSDL and CDSL depository ID and all those details, and then OTP based verification will be done.
Okay. So Prince from Devgar is thanking you for this superb session, sir.
Thank you, sir.
One question has come from Delhi, is whether dividend income more than 5,000 to be disclosed in the individual tax return.
Yes, definitely. It is all your income need to be disclosed. And now in the era of AIS, even though the dividend income is less than 5,000, those income are not subject to TDS, but still will be reported by the counterparty. Suppose we are having only one share of SBI and we are receiving 2 rupees or 1 rupee dividend on that particular share. But still SBI will file the detail with the department that I have given 1 rupee dividend to Mr. So-and-so. And that amount will also appear in our AIS under the SFT tab. So it is very, in the coming time, it is very difficult to hide something from the department, as they will have the 360-degree profile of us.
One question from Pune has come is how to correct ITR validation error. Reason being name field is filled with name as well as address details.
So as I said in my presentation in the very early slides that assessee need to update his profile completely. Sometimes the profile of the assessee is incomplete. The address is not filled properly. The migration from the old portal to new portal was done, but the PIN code number was not in the old portal. So assessee need to update his profile in entirety, then all the services will be operational and no error will be there.
Okay. So again, one question from Pune. I feel Pune is more active today. So is it compulsory to give feedback on AIS?
No, it is totally optional. But if there are some discrepancy or differences that you want to highlight or bring to notice to the department, then it is compulsory on our part to make the reply. Otherwise, they will treat the whatever reported in AIS as final one. So right. It is always better for the assessee to give a feedback if there is some deviation. If there is no deviation, then by default it is assumed to be accepted.
Okay. One question is, can we use ID and password of clients at CA office?
Yes, that is a practical question. Logically speaking, as a chartered accountant, we should have access to the things which we are authorized to access. So either we in the Wakalatnama or authority letter that we take from the client, it is suggestible to take or receive their assent to use their login credentials for e-filing, and also the authority to upload on their behalf some documents by logging into their portal from our office. Because whenever we use any login ID or password, in this internet era, the IP address is very relevant, and IP address can be traceable point from where the document is been uploaded. So right. If we are using the client login ID and passwords for sufficiency and everything, so we should have a clear cut mandate for the same authorization for the same in our authority letter. So for that we need to update our authority letter as well.
Right. So again, Kranti from Jaipur is thanking you for this very informative session, sir.
Okay, sir.
One question is coming from Kochi. Is TDS not paid by deductor? Can assessee use TDS CCS mismatch feature as you mentioned in AIS to resolve the issue rather than resorting to offline litigation?
No, but the AIS feature is basically for the transactions reporting. For TDS mismatch, we need to approach to the deductor or collector only, because that will not be updated unless the counterparty update their TDS or TCS returns. As far as the other SFT transactions are concerned, the other party has once uploaded the details. Now we are not going them for changing the correct data. Now we are approaching the system for wrong entry in the data or some corrections based on some documents. So it is better to approach to the concerned party for the revised return of TDS or TCS.
But on a very general note, Sunilji, at times it becomes quite difficult that our TDS has been deducted, but they are not being shown in 26 days.
Yes, sir.
Normally, I mean, government should look on this particular part.
Actually, severe penalty prosecutions and interest provisions are there for the deductors. Government is also implementing the same,
Right.
but things will change in days to come.
What to do if there is some mistake has taken place in making the payment of tax?
Yes. So within 7 days of making the payment of tax, for some basic mistakes, we can approach to the concerned bank for update in the challan. Bank has authority to modify the challan details within 7 days of payment. And that too should be only we need to prove that it was a clerical or some typing mistake, and that's all. So that thing can be done from banker's end. And if the period of 7 days has been ended or there are some major mistake, then we need to approach our judicial assessing officer, and he has right to update the challan details.
Right.
With the proper indemnity. For assessing officer, we also need to give the indemnity as well, that the details are bona fide and the mistake was also bona fide, will not be misused by the taxpayer if corrected.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Again, from Telangana, Revan Prashad is thanking you for the insight, giving full insight of the portal.
Thank you, sir.
With this, almost we have come to end of the questions. If any more questions are to be asked, so we'll request the students to immediately put on their questions, else we would be handing over the session back to Vidhi Gupta ji. If Sunilji permits me to ask a question from my side.
Definitely, sir.
One of the cases that TDS I have booked through ICDS provisions in year 1, and government is deducting the TDS in year 2 on the basis of payment. So in year 1, I have already shown the income. In year 2, there are TDS, but I have nothing to show as an income. How to deal with this particular?
That is the practical difficulty we face day in, day out, because there is option and provision for carry forward of TDS. For carrying back or bringing back, there is no option. We need to explain it offline only with the document and in manual manner. System generated, we can make a claim, but system will not directly give that claim. Then we need to prove our case by giving documents, and it will be a offline procedure mainly by filing 154 before the judicial assessing officer against the 143(1).
Right.
Yes.
It's almost 1 p.m. exactly the time that we had set in for our sessions, and by now all questions have been beautifully answered by you. So no more questions till now. So I would like to once again thank you for this wonderful giving the answers of all the queries, pinpoint queries. Now back to Vidhi Gupta ji. So we are done with our question answer session.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, to the one and all the present here, Honorable Chairman, C.A. Sushil Goyal ji, SSCB Board of Studies. And it is such an honor for me to get the opportunity to thank all the dignitaries on the behalf of Student Skill Enrichment Board, Board of Studies Operation. I extend a warm welcome to the students present online in the webinar. I would like to express my gratitude to our eminent speakers, C.A. Sunil Malluji and C. Aditya Maheshwari, for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. I would like to thank you for inspiring and encouraging us with your words and enhancing our knowledge via a wonderful and informative session. I must thank the organizing team, volunteers for working hard for every weekend to make this series of webinars successful day by day. I congratulate all the participants for their active participation. Thank you, everyone, once again for making it a
Just for the information of all the participants, there are more than 600 viewers live right now. And at one point of time, it was much higher. So we have been having consistently more than 500 viewers all across the time. So thank you once again, Sunilji, for making this particular lively session.
Thank you for moderating this session, sir. Thank you.
So I believe Vidhi Gupta ji, we are not able to hear. So
thanks to all. Thanks to all. We conclude by this. Thank you. Thank you,
sir.
Ayaz.
Thank you.